Yo, what's happening, man? It's me, Alahn Bey, aka Mr. Lime, aka A-Town, aka whatever. Today, I come to you wanting to talk about something serious because it kind of triggered me some thoughts that I had. Turn some light on so we get proper lighting. So we don't be in the dark talking about something dark because this is a dark conversation just by the nature of what it is that we're going to talk about. And I do want to be casual about it and I'm careful what I say. So I'm going to go ahead and say a little prayer so we be protected while we're having this conversation. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge, my fortress, my God. In Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler, from the noisy pestilence. I shall not be afraid. For the terror by night, nor for the terror of the fly. I shall not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flies by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wastes at noonday. A thousand shall fall at the side, 2,000 at the right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with an eye shall behold and see the reward of wicked, because as meant the Lord, even the Most High habitation, there shall evil befall thee, neither shall any plague, another dwelling creature, because they have charged thee. You keep thee in all their ways, they shall bear thee up in their hands, as thou dash the foot against a stone, that shall tread upon the lion and adder, the young lion and dragon shall trample under feet. As there's more to that prayer. That's Psalms 91 if anybody's interested. But it's a powerful prayer. And first and foremost, I'm not a Christian. This is not a Christian perspective. I'm not here to talk about Jesus. I'm not against Jesus, but I'm not. That's not my thing. Was in the church, grew up in the church and all that. But my consciousness has evolved successfully. Thank you. And so my perspective is a little different. But what I wanted to talk about was child molestation, because whether we realize it or not, whether we want to admit it, it's a big issue in our society, in our communities, whatever. And even though I consider myself to be somewhat an outcast or among that 5%, man, like I'm not average or typical, be it good, bad, or indifferent. But I consider myself to have a certain higher level of consciousness, even though I'm just as flawed and fucked up as everybody else. And I mean that in every sense of the word. I don't got no moral leg to stand on, so I'm not here to teach about morals or none of that bullshit and tell you what you should or shouldn't do. I'm just sharing my story and hopefully to help somebody. Because a friend of mine just had a child of his get touched on, and he got criticized because he went to the police. He called the people on the person, and they got locked up about it. But come to find out, man, dude got bodies under his belt, and a lot of times people want blood, and I'm a dad, and I got 3 daughters, and I was raised, to fight, quite honestly. But at the same time, take you back to 1993, 94, 95. It was 95. 94. I think it was 94. Around that time frame. I was 11, so it's probably 93. Around 93, 94. Because I went to high school at 96. I was 14. So, yeah, 93. So anyways, what was I, 12? I was either 11 or 12. It had to be 95. It's somewhere in between the time frame. Like, this shit don't matter. Anyways, so let me give you a little backdrop. I got a cousin who's a homosexual, but he's married. 2 children my age. He's about probably 15, 20 years older than me, right? I'm gonna say P for lack of for full disclosure, so, or for some disclosure, so put nobody in it, or make it too personal. I don't want nobody going and trying to do no investigating shit like that. So we just say P. And so my cousin P, he was married to my cousin, and we go over there. We grew up over there. These like everybody knew who he was and how he got down, but nobody ever they trusted him around his kids. He was the type of cat. I always got a nickname for you, grab you by your cheeks and shit. Which now I look at, those is telltale signs of pedophilia. You know, if grannies grab cheeks and shit like that, and it's fine. Females can do that. No male, I don't care what your sexual preference is, and it's none of my business. What you do sexually is purely private for you, but no male need to be doing the cheek shit like that. You know what I mean? Like it's just certain touchy things. Even touching on a male child, you know you're homosexual because spirits transfer. And I promise you, it ain't but a miracle that I turned out heterosexual because so much gay shit happened to me as a child. It's ridiculous. However, I digress. Um, so about 11. I'm getting a little older. You know what I'm saying? I'm starting to come into my little manhood. My stuff is growing, right? Over my cousin's house, over my cousin P's, and I have to use the bathroom. Now, mind you, the whole night was off. There's the energy about the shit was off, right? He was doing all, just not acting typical cousin P. So I had to go pee at some point throughout the day or night. It was actually night. I went over there at night to spend the night with my cousin. Like I said, he got 2 children. I went over to spend with my cousin Jet. So I go over there, and I'm in the bathroom. I'm peeing. The door is open. My little cousin see me and like, yo, he started bugging and say, "Dang, Dad, he got a big old wee wee, right?" You know. I'm like, now I'm trying to close the door and shit. Damn, they're peeing on everything. And fucked up about it. Not fucked up about it, but kind of like, damn, like, this nigga looking at my shit. Like, anyway, so I'm like, all right, get down. I use the bathroom, come out there. Um, my pants are a little big, and I don't have a belt. And they keep falling down. And my cousin Pete noticing that my pants are too big for my waist. So he like, yo, go in my room and get a belt. I'm like, all right, cool, for your pants. I'm like, all right, I'll go get the belt. He like, here, let me put it on for you. I'm like, nah, I don't need you to put it on for me. I'm cool, right? And in that moment, I felt like, okay, wait a minute. He ain't never did that type of shit before. Like, I'm 11. I don't need nobody to help me put on my belt. Like, what the fuck? So, I'm already feeling some type of way about that. But I don't say nothing. I go back in the room, play the game, go to sleep. Long story short, in the middle of the night, I wake up, my cousin P is over the top of me, touching my shit, sucking my shit, right? Fucked me up. So, he realized I was fucked up about it. He started talking to me, saying all this old weird ass shit, crazy shit, like you can go make money, like when you get older, like you so well endowed, you can go make money somewhere, like people will pay you and this, that, and the third. And I'm like so fucked up in my head, like my mind is like, yo, wait a minute, this shit really just happened. It was so surreal because mind you, I'm over my cousin's house. We grew up like since I was knee high to a grasshopper. I'm talking about since I was born, right? And then to make the shit worse, my cousin's laying next to me, his son, right? So I'm like, oh fuck. So the shit happened. Go home the next day, and mind you, he hit me with the, yo, I'm gonna pay you, I'm gonna give you some money, such and such, you know what I'm saying? Just don't tell nobody, keep this between us, blah, blah, blah. But in my mind, I already knew what man, I'm telling my motherfucking mama, you got me fucked up. That was never supposed to happen. So I go home, and I don't even know how I'm gonna tell my mama. You know what I mean? Because this is our close family. Like, this is family. Like, if an emergency happened and we needed to go somewhere, we would go with this person. You know what I'm saying? Possibility. Like, all right, so bam, it happened. And I'm in the car the whole time he talking, saying this, give me this money and all this shit, and $10 at that. And now, mind you, like I said, I was 11, 12, between that time frame, okay. $10 was like kind of like, well, not really though, because like I would rake grass and rake leaves and cut grass and do shit to make my own money. So like that wasn't really no money. And even if you would have paid me, I still would have told. But I'm thinking like, damn nigga, you just basically fucked up my whole innocence as a child, and now, you know what I'm saying, like my first sexual experiences with this guy, like my male cousin, fucked up, and that honestly wasn't my first sexual experience because I had some shit from way early in my childhood that I've told a couple people about, but I don't really bring up because honestly I hope that I'm making this shit up because I'm so young that it's easy for me to function, not go crazy, thinking about that. So I treat it like it's something that never happened, because I don't. But I also process it like, okay, wait, I had to deal with it. And that's really what the whole point of this video is, because you got to deal with that shit. When something happens to you, man, like you have to deal with it. You got to heal, right? And that take a whole lifetime. I'm 40. I'm in my 40s, 42, right? And it still fucks with me to this day. I'm not a homosexual. Don't have no gay bone in my body, right? Even though certain shit happened to me as a child, like when certain shit was going on, but when you're a child, you don't have that the full function of your mind. You know, shit happens and you go with the flow. And as I got older, and and I started to go through different shit, I noticed, even to this day, really, I just had this revelation probably within the last couple of years. It's like, yo, this shit is affecting every relationship that you have. Every single female I've been with, for one, made me hypersexual. And now, pause, let me back up. Since I was, since I can remember, I've always been extremely horny. I've been humping shit since I was 2 and 3. No bullshit. Like always wanting to be, fucking. That's to this day. That's my favorite. Like that's my first love. If, I'm into music. I'm into a lot of other shit, but I love basketball. I love all this other shit. But anything like my first love, sex. Period. So it ain't like that. I was gonna be that anyway, just because of the amount of fire I got in me. Put it like that. But desire, okay. But that didn't help. And you get in these relationships with females, and then the first thing that I had to do, right, is answer that question. It's like, are you gay? Because this shit happened to you, and it's consistently like certain shit consistently happening, where I found myself in a situation having to like deal with that type of situation. So I'm like, okay, when I got grown, and I never kissed no guy, never been with no guy, never had penetrated no man, or none of that shit. Like I said, shit happened when I was a kid. I was a kid, didn't know. I was ignorant, or not even so much ignorant, but I was a child. It was childish. I was innocent. It's a certain innocence that protects you as a child. That's why I say God protects babies and fools. I was protected by my innocence. I was innocent. Anything I did as a child was done out of pure childishness. Like it wasn't or it was something that happened to me. So. But anyway, like I said, you gotta answer them questions, right? That shit is a real thing. And what happens is, with a lot of us, is you end up accepting that shit. Like that shit happened and fucked me up. My mama called the police. He ended up going to prison. He at first he tried to deny it, but he ended up going to confessing and going to prison. Did his time, got out, whatever. Since then, I forgave him. I done smoked weed with the nigga. Cause like I said, this nigga raised us. He helped raise us. Like I said, I'm not your average or typical. I'm not one of them people, because I can fight my ass off. I'm nice with my hands. I'm crazy enough to shoot somebody. I'm crazy enough to kill somebody. I don't got no gripes, ifs, ands, or buts about it. But at the same time, I love that nigga. I couldn't reconcile. I couldn't be upset as a grown up, as an adult. I couldn't allow myself to continue to be upset with it, because he did his time, he served it, and even though it still sit with me, it's like, well, I can't be stuck in this shit and allow this to affect how I deal with my life forever. So I forgave him. I got over it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I didn't smoke with the nigga. My mama and we all back cool now, but that shit happened and it fucks it up. And that's the thing that we need to do, is start being open about that shit. Like when you see a motherfucker that's struggling with something, I don't give a fuck if it's pedophilia or anything that he's struggling with that's gonna be a problem for the kids or the future. We gotta start addressing that shit. Like, yeah, listen, we can't leave him with them. Like we can't leave the kid with them, because we know this is lifestyle, and we know that lifestyle. I'm not, like I said, I'm not judging nobody. I'm not in the business of doing that. I ain't got no leg to stand on trying to judge nobody. Too much shit I've been through. I ain't in a position to judge nobody. I don't want to. But at the same time, I got a mind and I got standards and principles. And my principle is, if you male homosexuality is a no-go all the way around the board, because of what it does. Because you got to target younger men and you got to target children, right? The proof is in the pudding. 90% of the people that get molested, that's molested by males, is underage, right? Or get touched on. Like the males is is homosexual, right? Regardless of whether they might be living heterosexual lifestyles, but still be touching on kids and doing other shit, right? Being pedophiles. So that shit don't matter. You can't allow yourself to be around that energy or have kids around that shit because it's gonna lead to that. And even if it don't come out right away, it's gonna come out years and years because that's what it is. Like that's that spirit. Because I recognize that shit in church. Like to this day, I can see like that's where you get that sense. Like you don't have to hear nothing, you don't have to see nothing. You can feel that shit. Like I come around certain people, like you know what they on, you know what type of time you on. Like nah, fuck that. Get around my kids, dog. Mm-mm. You got to be like that. It's necessary. You got to be funny style. You got to learn how to be funny style. And then okay, so we go through the shit, deal with it. It happened. Get to school, people talking about the shit. Can't escape the shit. Nowhere, everywhere I go, somebody bring it up. Now people got rumors. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. It's all fucked up shit. You know, nothing that I want to be doing. I'm like, all right. So I had to deal with that. Fortunately for me, I was strong-minded enough not to give in to the shit that was going on and being said about me. I looked at it like, well, now I know who I can be cool with and who I ain't cool with. Fuck you niggas. So it's like gave me an attitude like fuck everybody. And then like I said, I was in church and I was around some good people that helped me cope mentally and helped me direct my energy elsewhere where I really didn't focus on it for a while. And so shit, had to go through the whole process of answering these questions. Like, did I like it? Because it happens. You gotta like that's the first question. Did you like the shit? And it's like, nah, I didn't like it. It was terrible. I felt like dying. Honestly, I felt like I died because I know part of me did die. I lost a certain innocence, like it was gone. You can't get that shit back. You know what I mean? So it's like I wasn't no virgin. Even the first time I had sex, it was like that was my first real sexual experience. Like that was, so it's like, okay, I had to deal with that trauma. And it's like, okay, wait, why did it happen? Because this helps form my philosophy and my knowledge about what God is and what God ain't. Like God ain't somebody. It's not something he, she, male, female. That's something somewhere sitting worried about your personal life, or even giving a fuck, right? Because if that was the case, any parent any good parent is gonna protect their kids. And if you all knowing, all seeing, all this, you're not gonna put yourself. You're gonna set this shit up to where your child is no possibility your child could go through this, right? So if we're talking about God being an all knowing, all seeing, all encompassing being, he can't be the type of father that we want him to be because clearly everybody like this shit is allowed to happen and people benefit from it. Like we see people performing rituals. So there's other forces that tie into this shit, right? So we gotta change your mind frame on God, what God is, because you gotta internalize the God. Like God is that voice when you quiet, when you say something in your mind. That's God. That's you. That's you. You are. You like. This one of the things that helped me heal is knowing that. Like, okay, well, wait. Can't be getting mad at some invisible force or having a pity party saying that this shit happened and shouldn't have happened to me. This, that, and the third. Why did you allow it to happen? Even though that did happen, because I went through a whole atheistic period, all that shit. Like, but it was about the evolution itself, is to get to know yourself, like that darkness. You have to have that darkness to know, and you have to have that pain to grow, right? Darkness to know, pain to grow. You have to have those two in life to get anywhere. You need those. Like so, it's like okay, that happened. And then too, I look at it like now as a father, like I said, I got that sixth sense. Like I know, like oh hell no, get my kids from over there. Like they ain't allowed to be around them. No, no, they cool because, like I said, me and Cuz cool to this day. He still do what he do, but he ain't being around my kids. He ain't never met my children. He'll never meet them. He'll never know them, and that's to protect them and him. Because now it's like, okay, well, look, then I probably should have fought back, or I don't know if I felt helpless. I felt like a bitch because I was in the position of one. Like, I just thank God I wasn't the opposite. It didn't get worse because it could have been. And then you really gotta like, so I really feel for people that go through that type of shit, like the ones that be going through these Catholic schools and shit and be getting done over. It's a hard thing to deal with. People gotta deal with it though. but you know it affects you. So the only way you're gonna heal from it is to deal with it directly. You can't try to hide that shit. You can't fuck your way through it. I tried that shit. You know, you still gonna be on the back of your mind, still gonna be at the forefront of your mind, because the more women you sleep with, the more questions you're gonna have, like to why this shit happened to you, and you steady masking that shit. You steady trying to deal with it. You steady trying to deal with it, and you ain't dealing with it directly. You trying to cover that shit up, and then it ends up happening is you become a womanizer, and you start hurting other people, and you stop giving a fuck about their feelings because shit happened to you, and you dealing with pain that you ain't really confronted. You got pain that you ain't confronted, and you ain't dealt with, and you ain't came to no conclusion with the shit. So now it's festering in all your relationships, and you're not gonna have a successful relationship because that shit is gonna find a way to make you more insecure because it fucks with your confidence. And that was ultimately what one of the points that I wanted to make is that the reason why it's important to heal is because if you don't, your confidence will never be the same. Like my confidence before that and my abilities to do anything, 100%. Then it got dropped down to about 90. That's a lot. It's a big drop because as you go on through life, you take more hits, you take more hits, you take more hits, and you get down to about 30, 20. That's how you see people be like, damn, you let yourself go. Like, man, shit, too much done happened now. Like, dog, if you knew what I've been through, you wouldn't even give a fuck about this. Like, you wouldn't care how I look. You just be glad I'm alive. And that's the truth. You know what I'm saying? We all wounded warriors, man, trying to get through shit, trying to get through life. Because she a bitch. And I love her. But I just wanted to talk on that and touch on it because it's in our community and it should be happening, but don't nobody speak on it. So one of the ways you deal with it is to deal with it directly, write, sit down and write about it, talk about it. You gotta, whoever the perpetrator is, you gotta talk to them and get some kind of understanding about it. Ask the question, all the questions you want to ask, and get that shit out. Hopefully they're receptive to communicating, because a lot of times people be so fucked up, they be so selfish, they know they did something to you and hurt you that they don't even want to give you the satisfaction of getting answers and all that shit. And in that case, that's where I call for like a nigga need like, yeah, somebody need to put a bullet in that motherfucker or do something to this ignorant motherfucker, like, and that's when I call for the violence, like, and shit like that. But in that situation, my situation, like, one, my dad wasn't there, so my mom got 6 other kids. She can't be out here just going to jail over me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's real shit. Not saying I wasn't worth it, but it ain't worth it. Like, you got more she had more to lose than she had to gain. Like, yeah, it'll feel good. It's what you call a Pyrrhic victory, where you win. You might win the battle, but you lose the war. It's like, yeah, I won it, but you. So that was the best option for us, especially as close as we is. If she did that, then the whole family would have fell apart, and it did cause some division and confusion. But at the same time, we did more damage control by going that route than it would have been the other way. You know what I'm saying? We took it to the streets. So I just want to touch on that, man. But as a father, like I said, do what you gotta do if it's your child, man. But also realize that if you choose a certain route, if you go to the streets with it, you risk your freedom and being taken away from your family ultimately. And like I said, that's another Pyrrhic victory, because you might whoop their ass, or you might even take them off the earth, might kill them. But now you're away from your child and at risk. She at risk, or he at risk, or whatever the case may be, for more shit to happen. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times we be wanting to retaliate and all that shit. Snitches get stitches and all that shit, but sometimes it don't be worth it. Like I said, Pyrrhic victory ain't no victory at all. It's like you won the battle, but you lost the war. Like, nah. And sometimes it's called for, like, you can fall on your own sword if you know eventually you're gonna die anyways. Like, fuck it, this is suicide death. I'm taking as many people I can and I'm out this bitch. But that ain't the case in most situations. Like, if you got opportunity to think, take a deep breath. I teach my little 4-year-old that. My 8-year-old, take a deep breath, calm down, relax. You can deal with it, whatever it is. Like, deal with it. Deal with it. Don't let this shit overwhelm you. Don't be, because I'm impulsive like a motherfucker. Like, it costs you so much though. And I'm just, this is not even just dealing with the, what we're talking about, but think, and retaliate the right way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying don't get your revenge, but revenge got to be exacted right, because you got to be here to do it. To enjoy the fruits of your labor, enjoy your children, enjoy your whatever you got going on. But I just wanted to touch on that, man. And like I said, I hope it helps somebody, man. And you really realize and recognize when shit like that happen, it's really just for you to grow spiritually, for you to get to know yourself on a more intimate level. And I'm not, that don't justify nothing that happened to nobody. I apologize and I'm sorry if it happened to anybody, you know. Even myself, that's one thing that I had to do is apologize to myself for and allow myself to feel vulnerable, to feel like a bitch, like to feel like all that shit. Like you ain't got no choice. And if you fight it, like I said, you're gonna end up becoming what you don't like. Like that's how a lot of people end up being homosexuals and being gay like that, because you know they fight the shit so much to where it becomes, you know, they draw it into their life and it become a place where they can't even run from it no more. It's like, okay, well shit, nah, you know. And it don't help with how they got they, you know, they putting all our people behind bars and all that shit. Like that shit don't help. It only make it, you know, that's the further complicate the situation, man. But we deal with that shit the best way we know how. But I just wanted to touch on that, man. Hope I didn't offend nobody. And if I did, like I said, I apologize. Just want to help. Hope you heal from whatever you're dealing with, man. If you can relate, and if not, I hope it helps somebody that can relate and prevent other shit from happening, man. Protect your children, pray over them, be with them, spend time with them, be around them. That's the only way you're gonna keep certain shit from happening. But realize if something happens, when it does happen, because it's gonna happen. Not saying it got to be nothing like that, but they're gonna go through their own trials and tribulations. It's not your fault. Even if it happened to you, if you're the victim, it's not your fault. You didn't ask for it. Because that's one of the things you got to realize. It's one of the hard things for me. It was like, damn, did I like I say I wanted this? Like I definitely didn't. You know what I'm saying? But your mind, your conscience gonna fuck with you. So you gotta really like tell yourself all the shit that you are before that happened. You gotta remind yourself all everything that you was before that happened, before your innocence was taken. You gotta go back to that innocent place and try to remember as much as about you as you can and reinforce that shit as much as you can and start to do the other shit that you know, the shit that it really puts you in your bag, because in order to heal you gotta get into your gifts and shit. But it also, what it did for me, and I guess this is important too. And I didn't want this shit to be so long, but it's really so much more I should say and can say, but I'm probably not going to. But um, one of the things is learning how, if you get, you know, you go through something like that. Let me get my point, because I had not made my mind scattered. Okay, you got gifts and you got different things. Once again, going back to your confidence, you can't allow those things to affect your confidence, because those are ultimately going to affect your gift. And then what happens is you end up getting off path because you don't trust your gifts, or when things don't happen and they don't go the way that you expect them to, you don't find the success that you feel you should have. Then you're gonna start to feel, and you're gonna take yourself in a downward spiral, because you're gonna doubt your gifts, and then you're gonna start to get into other things that's gonna take you off your path. And I'm telling you this from personal experience. Now, I was supposed to be Richard Pryor at one point, and then if I go on the music side, most deaf for somebody like. But you know, honestly, you know, sex demons got chasing pussy my whole life. Like, you know, could never get enough of it. Still to this day, like I'm a pussy galore is what I want to say. Is like that's my mind frame. Like that's all always on my mind. It don't matter. Even by myself or around a bunch of beautiful women, like it don't matter. It's all I think about all day. But like I said, this obviously is something that I had to deal with for this avatar, for this person, this Alahn, this nigga had to deal with this. So you know, it is what it is. Like that's where my mind is at. And it's healthy, because, like I said, ain't nothing wrong with women, but at the same time, you can't be a womanizer. Realize that. Like, I learned how to be in stable relationships and not be all over the place. You know, be monogamous. You know what I mean? If monogamy is what we after, because it depends on the situation. Sometimes, I ain't about to get into all that. But anyway, like, ain't no like, cause like it's like filler material. Like you say like when you ain't got nothing else to say, or like when you're trying to find words to say. Anyway, anyhow, heal up, deal with it directly. Find you a spiritual system. I don't care whether it be Christianity, Islam, anything. Find some type of spiritual system that's gonna connect you with your higher selves, connect you with your consciousness within, and deal with that. directly. Love yourself, because love, the only thing that ultimately heals us is love. And love is about action and care for self, right? Do things that make you feel better. Even if it feels selfish, sometimes you're going to have to be selfish, especially if you've been through some of the shit that I went through, dealing with molestation and stuff like that. Like, you gotta love yourself. You gotta deal with yourself. Take your time and allow yourself to go through it. I don't think I ever cried about it. I never cried. I felt really down. I went through depression for a long time, but I never cried. You know, I often, like I said, the questions is it's 1,000 questions in your head, but never cried about it. But if you need to cry, don't feel like you're less of a man if you're a man going through it. Or, females, they get encouraged to cry. They're allowed to do all this emotional healing and shit at early age. But males, boys, we get taught to be tough and don't cry, and that's unhealthy. That's unhealthy as fuck. You become a psycho, right? And sometimes it's good, depending on what whatever your purpose in life is. You might need to be a psycho, but for most people, that ain't the case. So yeah, just do that, man. Heal up and protect the children, like I said, man. Didn't want to be this long-winded, but there's so much more, so many other directions to take this in. But I just wanted to talk about it while it was fresh in my mind, and I kept going back and forth on whether or not I was going to do it. And so I felt like, okay, if I'm gonna do it, now or never. So I wanted to talk about it, touch on it. Hope it helped you. If not, leave it where it's at. But I'm Alahn, representing 7 Strong, all night long, all day long. Peace, and I'll get at you with another video.